Hey guys, it's Magda. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build. So today I'm building two townhomes in the world of Newcrest. I will only be using base game and the cats and dogs expansion pack. I really enjoyed having that restriction just because it made things a little bit easier as far as decision making. I was a lot quicker on placing items in each room just because it was less overwhelming with the other stuff that comes with the other packs. So I look forward to actually making more builds that are a little bit more restricting, just because I know not a lot of us have all the packs. Like I myself do not have all the expansion packs or um, all the other packs that come with the game. So I look forward to making that, and hopefully you guys will enjoy these videos as well. So for this left townhouse, this one with the green door, that one is a little bit more traditional as far as decor wise, and a lot more cohesive. I use a lot of neutral colors. And it only has 2 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms. So there's a half bath downstairs, and then there's 2 full bathrooms upstairs. And what I was thinking for that home is probably like a newlywed couple. Maybe they're just now starting a family. One of the rooms I do make into a toddler bedroom. And yeah, I kind of like that storyline. And then on the second townhome, that one is a little bit bigger. So that one has 3 floors. And the reason I made it 3 floors, because as you see here, it's originally just 2. And I kind of played around with the roofing a little bit. And I just wasn't liking how it looked. I feel like having one big roof made the whole structure of this building very unrealistic. It was just too blocky. I don't know what's the best way to describe it, but I did not like it. So I feel like adding another floor did really good in breaking up and making a little bit more clear that it's 2 separate townhomes. So I'm really pleased with that idea. I'm glad that I thought about that because yeah, I was not liking how it looked with just the 2 story on that right one. But anyways, the color swatches pretty much stay the same as far as what it's looking like right now. I think I just add like more windows, and I change up the roofing to that front of the brick, the second townhome. I actually end up adding one of like I guess it's like an awning. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's not an actual roof piece. You'll see that here in just a moment. And I really liked how the whole lot came out to be because I wanted it to make it clear that even though these houses are together, they're separated at the same time. So I wanted it to be like a clear distinction of both of these homes. And I feel like I accomplished that pretty well. And so yeah, so for the second townhome, that one, I don't know if you could say that it's like a maximalist. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but I was thinking that it's also a family home. So I was thinking a set of parents, of course, and there's well, in total it's 3 bedrooms. So on the third floor is where the master suite is at. And I imagine that one of the parents is a painter or both of them. But there's like a painting room or like a working room on that floor as well. And I feel like they really brought their personality throughout the whole house. And I guess you can consider it like a maximalist in a way. I used a lot of like mismatched colors and patterns. I had a lot of fun making that house. So originally, I was only going to build the one on the left, but I was just having so much fun creating like the storyline and the whole build itself, I couldn't get myself to stop, so I just kept building. And I think this is probably going to be one of like my longest videos yet. You guys will have to let me know how you guys feel about longer videos. I myself do enjoy them. I do not mind watching like a 30-40 minute video, especially about the Sims or like builds, just because they're very entertaining, at the same time kind of relaxing. I don't know if that makes sense. I sometimes use it for just like background noise. So I left pretty much in everything in the build except a couple of the bathrooms I did leave out. I think the main ones are like the ones downstairs. Just because it kind of got a little bit repetitive, so I kind of left that out. And some of the backyard as well I didn't include, or the floor plans I left out as well, upstairs. And in the other townhome, the brick one, that one I left out as well, as far as the floor plan, because I feel like you guys will see the floor plan as I start decorating the home. So I feel like it wasn't really important. But anyways, here I am going into the first build, and I chose these. Well, we don't have any cabinets for the cats and dogs expansion pack, so I used like this swatch, the white one, and I think I do keep the brown cabinets. I want to say I do leave them. I know I changed the color swatch to the table and those chairs. But everything here in the kitchen pretty much stays the same. I really wanted to add the fireplace here, but because the living room was so narrow, I feel like it was taking up too much space. So I do include that fireplace though in the other townhome. I feel like I had enough space for that one. So here, I really, at this point, working on the living room, I really didn't have an idea of what type of family lives in this house. I feel like the items that I was placing, I feel like kind of went with like older set of Sims, like maybe a set of grandparents. But what really solidified it, I think, whenever I was making this home, is here in just a moment when I'm decorating some of the living room, I actually pull out a basket, the basket of toys that has like baby or toddler toys. And I feel like it's a good clutter item, and that's what kind of solidified that I was gonna be including a toddler in this home. And I feel like it kind of just went with the aesthetic that basket did. So yeah, I feel like it solidified what type of family was going to be living here. And even though it looks very traditional, I feel like it still has like some youthfulness. I don't know if that makes sense. I also want to say, if my voice sounds a little bit funny right now, I am going through it with my allergies right now because there's been so much pollen. My eyes and nose have been very irritable, and then also I've been sneezing a lot, and I feel like my voice just doesn't sound the same. So if you notice that, please excuse it. That is the reason why. I'm not sick or anything, but hopefully this pollen season will end soon. But anyways, here I am kind of finishing up the living room. I wanted to make sure to add a computer and like a workstation, so that is where I place it. And then here in just a moment, I'll pull that basket out that I was referring to, which I feel like kind of, solidified what type of family lives here. And for some reason, I do want to say I don't know what happens with the canvases or like the artwork that I do place here in this living room. For some reason, it deletes itself. The green one right above the couch. So for this bathroom, I pretty much do the same swatch upstairs as well. This is only a half bath, and for the upstairs bathroom, it's pretty much the same. The only thing is for the parents' bedroom or parents' bathroom, I only do a shower. And then for the kids' bathroom, I actually do a shower tub combo. But I do the parents' bathroom off camera just because I was trying to save some time there. Also, this family does have a cat, I imagine. I add like a cat scratcher downstairs in the dining room, and I add like a pet bed and a food and water bowl. The only thing is though, I forget to add a litter box. So maybe you guys have a dog. I don't know, but if you do want to add the litter box, I feel like you can place it upstairs in the landing area because I do have an art easel placed where like the corner railing is at, but I feel like the art easel you can probably add on the back porch or even in the parents' bedroom here. I feel like there's plenty of room to kind of move things around. So I kind of do go back and forth from different rooms just because sometimes I forget that we have certain items with like one of the packs and I go ahead and place the item before I forget. So for like the kitchen, I go back and place certain items and then I'll go back upstairs. So if that bothers you, I'm sorry. That's just my short term memory kicking in and I want to make sure I place it before I forget. But I'm really pleased with how the kitchen came out. Everything pretty much stays the same. I wanted to just make sure I added the essentials for a toddler, which is the high chair. I do add a potty toilet or toddler toilet in the upstairs bathroom, so that is included. And then for the toddler room, honestly, I feel like I am guilty of picking like the same color scheme whenever I'm making toddler rooms, and I always tend to gravitate for the flower wallpaper. Is just so pretty. The only thing is I kind of try to break it up in some way to add maybe additional pieces or I may add like a changing table or a different bookshelf to kind of break it up. I don't want it to look exactly like previous ones. But yeah, I just really do like that wallpaper. And for this landing area, I want to say I just add the um yeah, that portrait that came from Cats and Dogs, and I add a lamp which I think it's the what is it? The not a water towel, a lighthouse. A lighthouse is what it's called. I place that there and yeah, I feel like I really don't add much to that area. I wanted to keep it kind of basic or simple just because it's not that big of an area. And then for some reason, some of my paintings were like removed at some point. I don't know if it had anything to do with like me changing a wall height or something, but for some reason, um my artwork gets deleted downstairs. So originally I do place like in the living room, it's the green grassy picture frame, but I ended up switching it for another one once I remembered that it was well, when I saw that it was gone. And then here for the toddler room, for some reason, some of the stuff that I place on the nightstand and on the changing table get deleted. So some things may be a little bit different in the screenshots, but I feel like it wouldn't be one of my builds if something like that would happen. But anyways, I do place like a dog, not a dog house, a toy box in this toddler room, and I feel like I did a really good job cluttering it up and just making it look or feel lived in. I feel like for when it comes to these kids' bedrooms, I want to make sure like I make it seem like there's an actual child living here. So I'll have like little toys and stuff placed on the floor to make it look like they were playing in here. And yeah, I really like that. And I do add these star lights, which I forget that we have in the game. And I actually do place it in the teenager's room, which is actually going to be right across, I think from her room, but in the other townhouse. And I quickly go into the bathroom, and I really like how this bathroom came out. I kind of felt weird about it at first because I wasn't sure how that window was gonna make things look in the bathroom. I didn't want to block it or move it just because I think that's like the only window that we have in the front side of the house, like the main window on the top floor. So I didn't want to delete it. So I just added the blinds on top of it. And I don't know, something about this bathroom just looks really inviting. I feel like the neutral swatch. I don't know. It looks relaxing. I don't know if that's a thing. But anyways, I do move on into the parents' bedroom now and just kind of finish up. I placed the bed beforehand. I do that sometimes just to make sure that there's enough room for everything to fit, because sometimes I will work on a room or like a certain part of the house and then I move on to the other part and I realize that there's not enough room for certain things. So I just wanted to make sure that I liked how it looked. And yeah, I placed just little clutter items. And I do switch that plant for another one that came from Base Game, which is like um, the small floral one that's like round. That's pretty much all of our plants, but I do switch it up for another one. And here I do move on into the other townhouse now. So for this townhouse, again, kind of going with like a maximalist type of style. Um, I had that idea, but later on, right now, I honestly did not really have an idea of what family I was building this house for. The items that I was gravitating towards were just traditional, but more on the darker side. And I feel like I had a thought where in a moment I was like, okay, maybe I can make like the opposite of the other house. So very traditional as well, but just a darker color swatch or a color scheme is what I had thought originally. And based on like the furniture, I was thinking that it was probably going to be for yet again another set of grandparents, but um it wasn't until I actually started placing some color into the house where I was like, okay, I think we can go with like another theme here. And honestly, I feel like that's what happens when it comes to creativity in general. I feel like you just kind of let it flow and see where it takes you. And I feel like, sometimes that's like the best project, or like the best masterpiece or whatever. I feel like when you just kind of let go and just see what comes out of it. And that's why I thought originally I was just gonna like delete the footage to where I started originally, which was just a very traditional decor. But I decided to just leave it so you guys can see how it kind of progressed from one thing to another, just because it kind of gradually started switching over to this type of theme. And yeah, so I kept it. I decided to keep it in. And it wasn't until I actually started seeing like the yellows and stuff where I was like, okay, we have something here. I do want to say though, I switch out the living room couches for something a little bit more darker. I think I do like, well, never mind. I think I do have like color. Well, I switched the color swatch to those couches, but at the end I end up choosing another swatch, which are a little bit more modern. But you'll see it. I think I do it on camera, so you will see that. And honestly, like the kitchen is what kind of just solidified like the whole theme of the house. So doing like the checkered tile backsplash and having like this vibrant green and the traditional cabinets, I feel like you find that in like New York homes where sometimes they will leave certain pieces that were original to the house and then just kind of update it as they go. And certain things may just be a little bit mismatched. Like you may have some modern cabinets or counters and I don't know, like traditional other items in the house. I don't know if that makes sense, but I really like that idea, and that's what I went for. So I used the leaf wallpaper for the dining room, and honestly, I feel like even though it's so like in a way out of place, I feel like everything just kind of tied together. And then that lamp too, the I don't know if that's a martini or what type of drink, but like adding that lamp was just like it just kept solidifying everything as I was adding items to the house. And something that I did struggle though with is this back wall to the couches. I feel like because it's long, but then also there's not a lot of space to put things on that wall, because if not, it's going to be blocking the way to get into the stairs. It was kind of weird. What I didn't know what to add there, so I think I just leave those canvases, or like those picture frames, and I do leave the mirrors, but up to a certain point, only to the stairs, because I just didn't want to overwhelm that area. And at the same time, I feel like it looked empty, but then when I started placing more items, it just looked too full, and it was like clashing with everything. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm pleased with how it came out. Um, and then I do switch out those couches, like I said, for something else, which are base game, I believe. They're just a different, like a different swatch of the other ones, which you'll see here in just a moment. But originally I was thinking that I was going to do the art studio down in this area, just because that pop out on the side has like a glass roof piece, and I was like, that's going to be beautiful for natural light whenever I like the Sims painting. But I also had an idea, because they have kids, maybe it's not the best place to do work at, and maybe they need like their own little private area, and I had space upstairs, so I ended up closing up the upstairs space and just doing the studio up there. And then for the downstairs space, I do like an additional living room slash workspace, which is where I include the computer. But anyways, we are working on the teenager's room now. And honestly, I can say that this is probably one of my favorite teenage rooms that I've done in The Sims. And the reason being is because this room just reminds me of something that you would probably see in like Disney Channel shows or like Nickelodeon shows, like those sets. Mainly the type of room that I feel like, or who would have had this room in those shows, was probably like Raven from That's So Raven. I feel like at one point in that show, she got a makeover room. I don't know if it was the basement or if it was the attic in her house, but they did a makeover, and it was so beautiful. And I feel like that's kind of what it gave me the vibe of. And I feel like for this sim, because the parents are on the creative side, I feel like maybe she had a lot to do when it came to making her bedroom like dream come to life. And the reason I say that is because I do add like this mural piece that comes from base game that's just really beautiful, and I feel like it ties all the colors together. And I envision that maybe like the quilt on her bed was something that maybe that she made herself. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with all the colors in this bedroom. And again, it just reminds me of something from like Disney Channel, or like one of those sitcoms that I used to watch growing up. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with how it came out. And I kind of go into the kids' bedroom for the other bedroom, kind of having that same idea as well, where it's different colors and different patterns. And I feel like a lot of it, just the parents had a lot to do with, creating these bedrooms with them. But anyways, here I am working on the bathroom, the shared bathroom for the kids. And again, I really liked how it came out, because I feel like I'm mixing the traditional with like, I wouldn't necessarily say modern, but like the maximalist, but like updated items. And I don't know, I feel like it just, even though the items that I place in there are completely opposite, like you would think that they would clash, but I feel like for some reason it just looks really good together. But anyways, here I am working on the other child's bedroom, which I do not use that wallpaper often enough, just because it's just very bright and just colorful. I feel like I save it for certain styles, and I feel like it was perfect for this type of build, just because again, I feel like the personalities of the parents and just being like very creative and artsy or just artistic, I feel like the kids got a hint of that, and they just decorate their own rooms how they please, and they're very, very creative, both of them. So I ended up doing that standing dresser, and then on the other side, I do a bookshelf with a TV, which is like the penguin TV. I was just thinking of anything that a child would like any fun, funky objects like the penguin TV, and then on the actual nightstand, I do like the plant with, I want to say it was the dog. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun decorating the both of the bedrooms because again, I'm thinking that the parents just have a lot of influence on their children, and they see how creative their parents are, and yeah, that goes into the kids as well. So I'm really pleased with how it came out, and I did go back into the kitchen and I add some more clutter items. I was thinking that these are just the Sims living here. All of them are just very fun, and I place certain items that I feel like I normally would not place. For example, where the bar area is, I use like the lights. It's like a sign with lights on it. Which I don't know. I feel like maybe I don't know. I feel like maybe these parents are artists, or maybe even like actors. I feel like they travel the world or something in the creative world where their job allows them to travel, and maybe they've bought certain items throughout their travels, and they just bring it back home and add it as part of their decor pieces. And I don't know, I'm really pleased with how it came out. So here I do kind of go back and forth when it comes to the studio area, because I did cut out the footage to where I placed it down on the second floor, and I changed my mind just because I noticed that I did have that room upstairs, and yeah, I wanted to make sure that they had like their private working area to where they can do their artwork and stuff. So I added this antique couch, which I don't think I've ever used in that color swatch, because I feel like maybe they do photography as well, or they just do like portraits or something, and I feel like that's part of like their set, I guess you could say. And yeah, I had a lot of fun kind of thinking about what they would use to create their artwork, and just added a whole bunch of like plants around it. I feel like that was a neat idea. And yeah, just kind of cluttering up the studio room, adding certain objects onto the shelf. I feel like one thing that I do wish we would have is more things for like offices, I guess you could say. So like I would enjoy like maybe having um like paints, or like paintbrushes, or actual paints. I don't know, I feel like more objects that go towards that field. I feel like that'd be fun. But anyways, I do move on into the downstairs. I wanted to make sure that that area got completed, just because I moved everything out of it. And honestly, it was kind of hard at first, just because I wanted it to make sure that it fit in with the rest of the house, but I also wanted to make good use of the space. So I ended up just placing the desk and a computer with also another TV. I feel like this is probably where the kids hang out. Maybe this is where they do their homework. They hang out after school here. And it was hard just because I wanted to use a different wallpaper, but at the same time I wanted to use some brick. And I feel like the color swatches that I was coming with was just very traditional, and it felt out of place with what I wanted. I wanted it to mesh with the rest of the house. But I feel like overall it came out pretty nice. I switched out that desk and I ended up choosing like the glass desk. And I feel like that's what kind of helped to incorporate the modern part of the house that I did have throughout the house. And yeah, I really liked how it came out. And then I also used a night, the standing night, that I don't think I've ever used in my builds. And again, going back with the idea that maybe this family travels, And for some reason, they purchased that at some point in their travels and they added it as a decor piece. So, kind of going with that storyline again. And I really liked it. I feel like it's what helped kind of tie everything together. But, anyways, I do move on into the parents' bedroom. It was hard at first just because I wanted the house or the room to look like the rest of the house, because whenever I'm making my builds and I'm making the parents' bedroom, I usually like to imitate the rest of the house as far as like the decor wise. And the reason behind that is because in my head, the parents, this is the parents' house. Like they chose what goes in their house as far as decor pieces. And I feel like it only makes sense to make it look like the rest of the house because, you know, it's their liking. And I feel like my exception is for kids' bedrooms because I feel like, you know, some of the times the kids may not like what the parents like. And I feel like they may have complete different, you know, personalities to them. And for the parents' bedroom, I like to make sure that it's just very similar throughout the rest of the house. So it was kind of hard doing that in this bedroom just because I didn't want to repeat items, which I do, but in different swatches. So I do have like the same bed that I used for the teenagers' bedroom, which I feel like was only acceptable because the other bedrooms, or not the other bedrooms, but the other beds are very traditional and they don't really have much of like, as far as like the bedding, it's just very like neutral and like muted colors. Like there might be like some patterns. I know for like base game we have certain patterns, but they're just very neutral and just like very beige. And I wanted that pop of color, that abstract, that funkiness into the bedroom. So I ended up just using the same bed and different color swatch. I feel like it was fine. But anyways, here I am moving on to the exterior of the house. And for the pool, I actually do like a red lining around the pool, which again, kind of bring in the funkiness outside as well. I feel like they chose that color because it's, you know, bold and it's different. And I wanted to place a hot tub, if not in this build, in the other one, but I forgot to place it in the other one because I feel like this one had the space to do so, but since it already had a pool, I wanted to add something specifically for the kids. So I add the monkey bars, like right behind the porch. And then in my head, I was thinking that I was going to add the hot tub in the other one, but I never actually placed it. I forgot to do so. So if you want to do that, there is space in the other yard to do so. I think in the other yard, I just do like a sitting area and a grill. So I don't place much. And yeah, I had a lot of fun making these two townhomes. We are going to be coming on into the screenshots here shortly. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know of any ideas or suggestions that you guys may have down in the comments below. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye!
Dreamed about nothing else other than you. I always thought I'd be waiting in vain, but suddenly there you were. Never thought it'd be easy to feel you in my arms, but now we're here and I'm all in, and I wonder about you, 'cause I can stay till the morning, stay till the dawn, but just hold me now. I wanna be so much better whenever you're around. I wanna say something clever to get in your mind, 'cause right now we're not together and I lose my way then. Oh, I feel so much better whenever you're around, whenever you're around. Whenever you're around, whenever you're around. I'm sorry for the things I have done, for the things I never did. But I promise, dear, I'll never let you go. So don't let go, get close to me. Oh, don't let go, get close to me. My body's waiting for you. I know your body's been waiting too. I wanna be so much better whenever you're around. I wanna say something clever to get in your mind. 'Cause right now we're not together, and I lose my way then. Oh, I feel so much better whenever you're around, whenever you're around. Yeah, yeah, whenever you're